Hello everyone, welcome to Vlogmas / flossmas here on Making Things with String. Today's December 1st and my plan is to make a video every day in December to celebrate the holiday times. So normally these videos are going to be fairly short, except for today. I do have pretty much a full floss tube's worth of stuff to show you since it's been a little while since my last video. But typically my videos are going to consist of a video clip of me opening my advent calendar. Hopefully you didn't get a flash of my address there. I've got a yarn advent calendar from Hue Loco. So let's get started with that. So I'll put in my clip here of this morning opening up my first mini skein of yarn from my Hue Loco advent calendar. The theme this year is Oxide, and as you can see we've got a beautiful orangey brown skein of yarn, and the colorway is called Gilded. So I've got it here with me as well, and I can show you in this slightly different light what we've got. So as usual, very happy with this yarn from Hue Loco, and I'm really excited to see where this advent calendar goes. So yes, look forward to tomorrow and seeing what day 2 brings. All right. So I have a fewer holiday countdown / advent items this year compared to last year. Last year I was also doing the Modern Folk Embroidery Roxy Floss Co. Evertote holiday countdown. That is happening again this year, but I'm not taking part. I am following along though, so that's been really fun to follow along and live vicariously through others who are doing that exciting project. And we also had a beer advent calendar last year that I split with my husband Neil, but we decided not to do that this year either. So my holiday countdown / advent activities are going to be the yarn advent calendar and some stitching on the Lola Crow Creepy Christmas Village ornament sal that I will talk about in a little bit. All right, so let's do a little bit of my sort of floss tube update for the rest of the video. I wanted to say, as a bit of a life update, I didn't mention this on my floss tube because I wasn't entirely sure that I was going, but I did actually take a trip to the Netherlands in November. So I was in the Netherlands for like 8 or 9 days, and I went for a conference in Utrecht, and I got to visit that city quite a bit, and I also got to visit some friends in Rotterdam, and it was an amazing, awesome trip. I didn't get a whole lot of stitching done, but when I get to the stitching that I did do during my trip, I'll mention that then. So yeah, it's been a really eventful and enriching time since I last saw you, and I've also gotten a lot of crafting done. So I want to start with a bunch of finishes. I have some finished stitching objects, or FOs, and I also have some FFOs, fully finished objects. Hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of those during Vlogmas because I am planning to give away a lot of the little ornaments that I've been stitching. First off though is not an ornament. First off is my FFO of Home is Where the Horror Is. I guess I'm putting stuff over here today. All right, here's Home is Where the Horror Is. This is a pattern by the Witchy Stitcher, and it is stitched on a 32 count pearl gray Lugana with the called for DMC, 2 strands of thread over 2 fabric threads. You've seen this quite a few times on my channel. I got a cute little black frame from Michaels that has a stand so it can hang or it can sit somewhere. And I'll be gifting this to somebody for Christmas. So I've got it all framed up. I framed this myself just using pins on some foam board, and it fit perfectly well in this frame, and the glass fit as well. So really like this cheapy frame that I bought from Michaels. Actually, it was buy one get one free when I was there, so I got another frame, not exactly like this, but another similar frame. So we'll frame something up in that at some point. But yeah, here's my cute little finish, fully finish of Home is Where the Horror Is by the Witchy Stitcher. As I said, I've been trying to finish some ornaments as well, some of those Whipco ornaments that I've stitched. So let's start with a couple tree lot ornaments. So these are tree lot A and C. This is part of 3 little trees in a pattern by Hands On Design. This was exclusive to the Jingle Ball last year in 2022. I believe they are available generally now. And I've just started finishing them up. They're not completely finished yet. I'm going to be adding some kind of decorative element around the outside, but I've just finished them on a little triangle with some red felt and green ribbons. So these cute little trees were stitched on 32 count charcoal linen, and I used some of the called for DNC but didn't have some of them, so some of these colors are custom to me. I sort of just swapped out for whatever I had on hand, and these are stitched 2 strands of thread over 2 fabric threads, so they're very cute and I like them. So almost fully finished objects. Next, I do have a fully finished ornament. Here we have Jingle All the Way. This is by Heartstring Samplery, and this was a bauble from the Jingle Ball Baubles book in 2022, last year. And I've stitched this on a 32 count natural Belfast linen by Zweigart, very different than sort of what's called for in the pattern book, which is sort of a deep red fabric. And also, as a result of changing the fabric, I changed the flosses as well. So these are not the called for Weeks Dye Works, they are DMC that I swapped out just based on what I thought looked good. And this is also stitched 2 strands of thread over 2 fabric threads, 2 over 2. And I've got sort of a golden cord around it and a mustard fabric on the back, and a little red hanger. This is super cute. Jingle all the way. All right, I've also almost finished this little ornament. This is called Evergreen. It's by Summerhouse Stitchworks. The fabric I stitched it on is a 32 count Lugana of some kind. I actually lost the paper that tells me the name of the fabric, so I don't quite know exactly what the fabric is. But it's a Lugana 32 count. I didn't use the called for threads for this. The green is called for, it's DMC 732, but the red and the pink are DMC 760 and DMC 221. Just didn't have the ones that were called for, so I swapped them out. And again, I've just backed this with some felt. This one I think I'm actually turning into a magnet instead of a hanging ornament, just because I think the person that I'm giving it to will be more likely to kind of put it on their fridge instead of hanging it in a tree. So I'm going to put some magnets on the back, and I will be putting some kind of decorative item around the outside of this one as well. So this is evergreen. All right, so these next few pieces are, the stitching is finished, but I haven't quite finished, fully finished the items. And, oh dear. Yeah, okay, I think I remember. All right, so this is the first ornament from the Lola Crow cross stitch, or the Lola Crow Creepy Christmas Village ornament stitch along, the mystery stitch along. Ornament 4 of 6 was released today. This is ornament number 1, and this is the piece that I stitched on primarily while I was away in the Netherlands. So it's a nice small little portable piece, and I stitched on this a lot in airports and in my hotel rooms in the evenings when I wasn't too tired to do stitching, which was not every night. I'll just say that much, because I had a busy time. But yeah, these are the ghostly carolers or something like that. It's the first ornament, and it is very, very cute. I am stitching this on a 40 count Stormy Night linen by Zweigart. And I am using the called for DMC, but I'm stitching this 1 thread of DMC over 2 fabric threads. So it's turning out very, very tiny, but I really, really like them, and they'll fit nicely in, I think, a 3-inch hoop if I want, or I might just finish them in like circular ornament flat fold sort of situation like this. We'll see. But here is ornament number 1. And so these ornaments, once I'm done preparing all of the other finishes and things that I want to give away as Christmas gifts, these ornaments are sort of the stitching, the main stitching that I'm going to be focusing on throughout these Vlogmas videos in December. So cute. All right, I have finished 2 other little ornaments since we last saw one another. The pattern is called Crit Ornaments by Rebecca Leota. Just found them on Etsy, and I have stitched both of them. So they are little D20 ornaments. One of them shows the 20 face up, and one of them shows the 1 face up. They're red and green. They're going to be cute little nerdy Christmas ornaments for one of my friends. So I finished the stitching on those. It only took me a couple days. These are stitched on a 28 count white Quaker cloth by Zweigart. And yeah, I'm just going to finish them in like a circular ornament, like the Jingle All the Way ornament or similar to that. So these are super cute. These are stitched with just DMC thread, whatever was called for, and I've stitched 2 threads, 2 DMC threads over 2 fabric threads. I think they're really cute. All right, that's it for finished stitching, but I do have quite a few whips that I would like to show you. First one is our classic since the beginning of this year. It is Reaching Skyward by Modern Folk Embroidery. This is the 2023 stitch along, and I have finished the November portion of this stitching. So here it is in all its glory. All that is left, I just have such a hard time maneuvering in this camera. All that's left is the very bottom border on this piece. And so I have got all of December to stitch that. So I'm kind of, normally I will focus on this at the beginning of the month until it's done. I'm not doing that this month just because I've got Christmas gifts and things that I want to get finished. So I'm leaving this until all of that stuff is done. So as soon as I'm done all of the things that I kind of have to do, I will get going on my December portion. So I guess in addition to the Lola Crow ornaments, I've also gotta finish off this Modern Folk Embroidery Reaching Skyward piece. And then I'll have to figure out how to finish it. I was in touch with the Stitch Bug, which is a LNS in Moncton, New Brunswick, which is fairly close to me here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. 'Cause they do framing now, and so I was asking them about some framing options. Just because it's such a huge piece, I was kind of worried about trying to frame it myself. But I might change my mind. I might still frame it myself because I'm pretty good at framing pieces in a picture frame. I've done that quite a few times now, and I'm like fairly confident. I just thought because Reaching Skyward is so big and I put so much time and effort into it that I might splurge on getting it professionally framed, but we'll see. To be determined. So that piece is stitched on a 20 count porcelain Ada from Evertote, and that's dyed by Roxy Floss Co. The floss as well is Roxy Floss Co. The colors are The Whiz and Brass Tacks, and I am stitching that one floss thread over one fabric thread, 1 over 1. When you saw this last time, I'll show it to you again while I'm saying these stats. When you saw it last time, I was at 84.41% complete. I'm now 93.13% complete. So just about 7%, a little less than 7% of this pattern left to go. All right. Next up, we'll do a little update on my Heaven and Earth Designs piece, Needs No Paint. The art is by Jill Clare for this piece. Last time you saw this piece, I had done 30.75%. I've worked on it a little bit since then. I'm now up to 33.53%. So, not a whole lot of progress, about 3%. But it's exciting progress because I'm working on the horse's face. So that's really starting to come together and it's looking really awesome. So as a reminder, this is on a 28 count white even weave. I'm using the called for DMC threads. I'm stitching this 2 over 1 tent stitch or half stitches. And yes, this piece is going to be a focus for me in 2024. I am planning to finish this piece. I should be able to do that by stitching about 4,000 stitches per month on it. So look forward to seeing lots of progress on Needs No Paint in 2024. It's a really beautiful chart. Okay, where did Leshy go? I'm going to talk next about Leshy, Guardian of the Woods. This is a pattern by the Witchy Stitcher that I started in October. And I've got a little bit of a hanging thread here. That's all right. Yeah, I started this in October and I did work on it a little bit since you last saw it. So here is where I am now on Leshy, Guardian of the Woods. This piece is done on a 36 count stone gray linen, and I'm using the called for DMC. I'm stitching it 1 strand of thread over 2 fabric threads. And yeah, I've started outlining over here a little bit, and I filled in quite a bit of the of the tree that I had already outlined last time you saw it. So a little bit of progress on this. This isn't going to be a focus necessarily anytime soon, so we'll see. I don't know when the next time I get progress on it will be, but it's an awesome chart, and I worked on it a little bit since you last saw it. So here's where we're at now. All right. Last floss tube, I did mention that I was planning to start the Black Butterfly Sampler by Shaded Stitchery as a Black Sampler November piece, and I did get that started. And it is tucked under here. So we'll give you a look at the progress I made on Black Butterfly Sampler. Just get my needle figured out here. Here's what we have so far on Black Butterfly Sampler. This is being stitched on a 25 count Wise Wolf Lugana. I don't know the name of the dyer, unfortunately, but the colorway is called Wise Wolf. And so far I have stitched with a Karen Water Lilies. The color is Dark Shadows by Karen Water Lilies. So all of this stitching is dark shadows. I also have a skein of Blackboard by the Gentle Art for some parts of this pattern that we haven't gotten to yet. So yeah, here's where we got to. Again, with this one, I'm not entirely sure when I will get back to it, but it's been really fun to stitch, and I look forward to working on it again soon. I'm stitching that 2/2. In case you are wondering. All right, that is it for my cross-stitching progress. My plans, like I said, I kind of already talked about this. Lady, no, you stay over there. I have some more finishing to do in December, so finishing up some ornaments that I've stitched. I do plan to continue working on my Whip Go since I'm almost finished it. I am going to be working on Coulter the Fox tonight and throughout this weekend because it is Jingle Ball tonight. So I'm just like recording this and trying to get this finished before Jingle Ball starts. So while I'm engaging in Jingle Ball, I'm going to be stitching on Coulter, which is fun because Coulter was a Jingle Ball purchase last year, a Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery pattern that I got last year at Jingle Ball. So I thought it was appropriate to stitch on it tonight. So yeah, I kitted that up earlier and I put a couple strands of thread. I'll show it to you tomorrow. Of course, I'll focus on Modern Folk Embroidery Reaching Skyward, as well as those Lola Crow ornaments too. Let's talk a little bit about my knitting progress since the last video. I showed you the Musselburgh hat that I knit for my husband Neil, and I had begun another one for my stepson, and I have finished the Musselburgh hat for my stepson. So this was just knit with black opal yarn, and here's what it looks like. Pretty standard, like black toque, but hopefully he likes it and it's nice and warm. So all done. I have also finished a pair of socks. This sock pattern is called Heavy Socks. It is a pattern by Briggs & Little. The yarn is also Briggs & Little. And it's this really nice woolly toothy yarn. Fairly thick. I'm thinking like about worsted weight probably. And yeah, I got 2 different colors. Did some contrasting toes and heels, and just pretty much straight up followed that Heavy Socks pattern by Briggs & Little. So it's got some 2x1 ribbing on the cuff and on the top of the sock, and just a heel flap and gusset construction. And yes, I knit this on or with 3mm Knitter's Pride circular needles. The last thing I knit, I just finished today, and it's some cute tiny baby socks. So you've probably seen this pattern before if you've watched my previous videos. It's my go-to baby pattern, but it's a free pattern on Ravelry called Simple Baby Socks. And I just had some leftover yarn from a pair of adult socks that I knit. So I knit up these little baby socks for a friend of mine whose baby shower is tomorrow. So the pattern is by Penny Pebberty. The yarn is Nerds with Needles, which is a Halifax or Nova Scotia yarn company, hand-dyed yarn company. And I knit these with a 2mm Chowgu needle, circular needle. All right, and the very last thing that I wanted to update you on is my diamond painting progress. So I am working on Kraken #1 by the Diamond Art Club, and I've made a little bit of progress on that since the last video. I haven't worked on it a lot recently because I've been trying to get all these Christmas gifts and things ready to go. But yeah, I've made some progress, and I'm excited to get working on that again. So I'll overlay some footage here of where I am with that now. All right, so a little bit more quick and dirty than my usual floss tube videos maybe, but I'm trying to get this all filmed and ready to go so I can check out the Jingle Ball later tonight, and get this edited and uploaded today as well because I want to be doing the video every single day. So thank you so much for checking out my video, and I will see you tomorrow with another shorter video. Bye-bye.